And gentlemen, today what I want to do is show you how to use 3D printing and the Universal Construction Kit to print out adapters for different construction set toys. So for instance, here we have Lego to K'NEX, we have Duplo to Lincoln Logs, we have Crinkles to Gears, all different construction set toys that can now be combined into one. Now, the first thing you're going to need to do this is a 3D printer. Now, for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to be using a FlashForge Finder. These printers only cost about $300 and they're very easy to use. If you don't have one of these and have access to another type, that's fine. It'll just be a slightly different slicing software that we're going to need. So, step one, we're going to need to download the slicing software for the 3D printer. Now, if you've done 3D printing before, you probably already have this on your computer. If not, you just go to flashforge.com/download center, click on Flash Print Download, and find the version of Flash Print for your system. So if you're using Windows, Linux, or a Mac, just download the appropriate version. If you're using a different style of 3D printer, you'll have a different style of slicing software, and just follow the steps for that version. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to MakerBot Thingiverse. So thingiverse.com. Now, you don't need a MakerBot printer to use Thingiverse. This is just a database with all different kinds of STL and OBJ files for 3D printing. Now, these work for any types of 3D printers that use those file types. Once we're on Thingiverse, we're going to look for UCK. It stands for Universal Construction Kit. UCK for short. You'll notice a bunch of the different models that pop up when we type in UCK have this logo at the bottom. It says Free Universal Construction Kit. Those are the ones we want. So if you click on any of them, including this wacky looking universal adapter brick, that does actually work, even though it's not the most practical of all the prints, we can just click on the author's name, the UCK, and it'll bring us to their page. Now you can also just type in thingiverse.com/UCK/designs, and it'll bring you to the same page. And here we have all the ones they have available. There are 44 designs on this. For instance, Fisher Technic to Duplos, Duplo to Lincoln Logs, Fisher Technic to Crinkles, Gears to Duplos, Lincoln Logs to Gears, K'NEX to Duplos, all different types of construction set toy adapters. So if you've ever wanted to build a Lincoln Log fort and attach K'NEX on top of it, there you go. If you've ever wanted to make a Lego set and make a Lincoln Log roof, there you go. So let's just grab one of these and set it up for printing. So I'll just use this Lincoln Log to Duplo adapter. That looks like a pretty good one to click. So when it opens up, you'll see a preview of what it looks like, and there's also a window over here, if you click on this one, to actually take a look at the 3D model. So here we can kind of zoom around, take a look at what this will actually look like once it's printed. Allows you to rotate, access it in a 3D space, just to make sure that's the one we're looking at. Now, it is important to note that there are both the bottom and top, or male and female versions of these. So for instance, this is Lincoln Logs on the bottom and a Duplo on top. If I wanted the female side of the Duplo on the bottom and then the Lincoln Log on top, well, we can go back and look through the list and it'll be in here somewhere. So there are several pages of these. It's actually right here. There's the Duplo to Lincoln Log with the female end. And there we have it. So this is a Duplo base with a Lincoln Log on top. So once you have the file you want, or the item you're looking for, click on Thing Files, and go to Download. You'll notice it's an STL file. This is the type of file we want. So if you click on this, it should open up in FlashPrint. Now, some of you may have an issue where you see a really, really tiny version of your file. Now, obviously, this is far too small to work on anything. So what we need to do is we need to scale it up. Now, it's very important not to scale it incorrectly because it won't work and won't snap together properly. However, this is actually a really simple thing to do because the only issue with these files, if they do show up too small, is they're using either inches or millimeters, and they're supposed to be using the other unit. So if you click on scale, you'll notice there's a little button here that says inches to millimeters. Simply click on that, and it automatically resizes itself. If your 3D printer has been used before and you've done a bunch of 3D printing in the past, this is probably all set. But if it's your first time, it may be something you need to work with. All right. So we can click on View now. We can look around, see our model. And the one thing we want to check before printing is we want to click on View, and we want to click on the bottom view. The reason for this is we want to make sure that the outline at the bottom is in blue. Now the reason for this, and the reason this is so important, this is where it's going to adhere to the build plate. So if by any chance it's off the platform, and I'll raise it up just a little bit, notice how that blue outline goes away. Currently this is floating off of the build plate. And if I look at the front view, you'll notice at the very bottom it's floating just a little bit off the build plate. And I can actually move this up higher. Now, things won't print in midair, or they won't print well. So what you have to make sure, if it's not outlined in blue, is that you click on platform to make sure it's a drop down. And then we can view the bottom view just to make sure that it's set and ready to go. Okay, so we should be all set for 3D printing now. Our next step is going to be to click on Print. We have a FlashForge Finder. We're going to be using PLA plastic, that's the standard. There won't necessarily need to be supports. While it will try to print over nothing, the overhangs on these are usually such where you don't need supports. If some of your prints aren't coming out right, you can enable the supports and add them up here. But for the purpose of this demonstration, we won't be doing that. We don't need a raft, and we'll just leave it at high resolution. This will go slower, but it'll allow it to snap better. Some of the different adapter blocks may actually want you to print in hyper, and this is something that sometimes you'll have to do trial and error until they fit properly. So going straight to hyper isn't actually a bad idea, it's just going to take a little longer to print. I'm going to hit OK. It's going to slice my model, and then I can either export the G-code to a thumb drive and plug it directly into the 3D printer, or if your 3D printer is set up wirelessly, you can click on Send G-code and connect to your 3D printer via its IP address if it's on your network. Once you've connected it, you simply hit Print, and you're done.